Good day.
Hello everybody.
And welcome to our first video of traveling. All about Iran.
Yes.
We've eventually started, thank heavens.
After 2.5 years.
Yeah. We've been on the road a bit now, and I must say that the approach has changed as we've been traveling a bit. So Iran, we did want to get through because it wasn't really a country which was of great interest to us, although while we did go through it, the hospitality in that of the people we did meet was really great.
Yeah, they're very, very, very nice people. We were just a little bit nervous of all the situations there, so I was very careful also with my videoing. I tried not to video too many people, and there was one day which was actually a holiday celebrating, I can't remember what it was, but we just went in the opposite direction. So there isn't as much videoing as I would have liked of places.
Well, so far on our trip, all along, holidays have plagued us.
Yeah.
Whenever we want to do something, not when we have seen some great sights, but especially in Iran, I mean, from the day we arrived, the day I was supposed to get the van out of customs, it was a holiday. And from then on, the holidays kept popping up at the most inconvenient time.
Yeah, so we couldn't see the big mosques because it was either Friday, which was the religious day, or it was a public holiday the next day. And we did need to move on, and also we are planning to come back through Iran on our round trip back. So we are hoping then that whatever we missed in this time round, that we'll be able to see when we come through it again.
So our overall impressions of Iran was it's a generally clean country. It's the roads were not that great. They were very bumpy and a lot of potholes. I'm really surprised that my tires survived Iran. Generally the driving, I would say, in Iran is almost some of the best we've seen. People on the road are I mean, it looks utter chaos and that, but people are very considerate of others.
Yeah.
And so a truck driver will always pull over for you. He will make space for you to squeeze past, and especially on the open roads, it was really great. The police presence there was, but whenever they heard that we were South African, it was welcome to the country and hope you're enjoying it. And
it was all very friendly.
Yeah,
we didn't feel uncomfortable at all. No. I think any way that we did feel uncomfortable was of our own doing, really.
Yeah.
So the biggest problem for us was buying diesel, which I do explain a little bit in the video, but you can explain a little bit more.
I think what's in the video, it really is a personal thing. Yeah, diesel is rationed in Iran, and so you need a card to buy it. We didn't know that we actually had a card, although what we did have, I'm not sure would be acceptable at all the filling stations. So I would say that the diesel was our biggest stress of the holiday, of the trip through Iran, apart from the final border post. That was utter chaos.
Yes.
I've
never seen so many people at one border post and just waiting and
total disorganization. What did help us there was having read iOverlander or Park for Night, people who'd been through the border and vaguely described what needed to happen.
This is the border to Turkey.
Yes.
We're talking about. The other problem, we did discuss the money issues. I didn't mention though that the reason why we had to use cash was that you can't use credit card.
The problem is all our credit cards are international credit cards, and if we had presented them in Iran, as soon as they were captured electronically, those cards would have been blocked due to sanctions. So we had to make sure that we had cash to go all the way through. What we did was we had a little bit from friends, a couple of Iranian rials, but we took dollars and euro with, and that was fairly easy to exchange that.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoy the video. It's my first traveling video, so if you have any comments or suggestions on how to improve it, I am trying to get my head around of how to do this. I think my other videos are going to be slightly different, but hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully you enjoy what we saw, because
yes,
we did see some really nice.
It generally is a nice country.
Yeah.
So enjoy it. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. We really are trying to grow the channel, and we always appreciate comments. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye bye. And the time has finally arrived for us to pack our van. So what I've done now is I've fully packed the van with all the clothes and everything we want to take with into the cupboards and into all these boxes, just to see if it all fits and how it will work. And now what we have to do is, because we are shipping the van from Sharjah in the UAE to Bandar al-Abbas in Iran, and we've heard that there's always theft in these vans while they're shipping it over. We are trying to sort it out so that we can put as much of our things in the garage. What John has done is he's put in a board over here that is bolted, so you can't get into the garage at all from this side. So we're allowed to take 40 kilos of hand luggage on the ferry. So at the moment the plan is that I'm going to take all these empty boxes and put them in a big bag and take them with me, and then we're going to put all our clothes and everything else that we've got lying around and see if we can fit it into the garage. These drawers are lockable, so this is already full, and I have left some food out. So this is already packed with food. If anybody wants to steal that, they're welcome to it, because I can replace it. But this is exciting times. We've got 2 days to finish this job. John, the master packer. Give a smile. And we managed to squeeze everything into the back. The only hand luggage we've got will be the plastic containers, potentially those 2 continental pillows, and just the clothes that we need when we get to Bandar al-Abbas. So well done, John. John came up with a great idea last night.
Don't know if it's great yet.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Of trying to just lock the backside from the cab. We are really concerned with the shipping, that they'll come in and steal things. We've actually tried to pack the back as much as possible, so there's not much in the cupboards. So he's made brackets to tie the string on, and we're hoping that this will at least just be a deterrent for anybody wanting to get to the back. So this is a bit last minute, but
yep. Typical.
Yeah, the idea only came to him last night while he was in bed, and we're leaving today. In the end, we flew from Dubai to Bandar Abbas, and this is Abbas who handed over Jana to John at the port in Bandar Abbas. So we finally have our dear Jana back. John spent the whole morning at customs on the port getting her back. We are parked for now at the back of the Hormuz Hotel, and just going to ask if we can sleep here tonight, because we have to sort out the whole van. They did break into it, You can see here that I'll just go back a bit. See that they broke the string, and that is big enough for a person to come through. Not sure yet if they've taken anything. It looks as if they might have forced this cupboard a little bit, and I think there are things missing inside, but all in all everything else looks alright. And now I have the wonderful job of unpacking the back. This is what the back looks like, fully packed, and it will probably take us an hour or so to unpack it and put everything back in its right place. But we're happy we did it because the van had been fiddled with. There seem to be no road rules in Bandar Abbas. It's basically drive as you like. If there are 3 lanes, you make it into 4 lanes, 5 lanes. If there's a traffic light, well, maybe you'll stop or maybe you'll go. If you're pedestrian, you just close your eyes and step over, and people will stop for you. And the result of that is that a lot of the cars are pretty bashed up. A lot of them have got dents. You just stop where you want. You just park where you want. That's quite a popular car, that one. I've seen lots of those. Yeah, you can just stop where you like, ask for directions where you like. It's actually quite fun. And you just drive where you like. But we are big, and we can rule the road. This is then the scenery outside Bandar Abbas. It's very, very dry, very arid. There is a lot of soil erosion and some really interesting rock formations. As we were driving down the highway from Bandar Abbas to Shiraz, we also saw many different colors of sand, which was very, very interesting. Some of it almost blue in color, and at times we also saw salt deposits, or what we thought were salt deposits. This is not snow yet. Snow comes later in the video. The stone garden was built by the deaf and mute shepherd Darvish Khan. It all started around 1961 with the national land reforms. Darvish Khan, along with many other major owners, lost a great part of his lands. Although suffering from the mentioned disabilities, he managed to find a clever, everlasting approach to voice protest against the government orders that had almost ruined his life. He built a garden hanging stones from dry tree branches. There are 2 narratives about the source of trees. Some say that Darvish Khan abandoned taking care of his garden as a form of protest and started building the stone garden using the same trees. However, some others say that he would collect dry tree trunks from the region and secure them into the ground for his project, as they believe that Darvish Khan has never cut a living tree for this purpose. The other thing is that the stones now hanging in the garden can be found at least in the radius of 5 kilometers. This is John filling up with diesel at one of the diesel stations. The truck drivers were not very cooperative generally, nor was the owner. But one of the truck drivers agreed to sell us 4 of his jerry cans. So they are just busy tapping it over into the van, which hopefully will fill it up enough. We actually filled up in Dubai before we had the van shipped over, because we knew there were problems with diesel in Iran and getting diesel. The village of Maymount is a troglodytic village, which means that people live in caves. There are different stories on the history of the village, but archaeological findings have put it back to about 3,000 years. The landscape is the result of the interaction of humans with nature throughout history. It has about 400 residential units with 2,500 rooms carved into the rock. The village of Maymount is registered as the 19th Iranian Cultural Heritage Site on the UNESCO World Heritage List. While I was wandering around the village, I came to the shop, which is actually in one of the caves, and the shopkeeper, very nice lady, invited me in. She allowed me to have a look around, and she also offered me a cup of tea, very nice Iranian tea that she made in her double boiler, which also serves as a means of keeping the cave warm. And then her husband came as well, and we had a little bit of a chat. We're in Maidenstone Village, and John is not feeling well. He's got flu, and so we spoke to the UNESCO guide here and just said that, asked if we could stay another day because John's not feeling well. So he's brought us a whole Iranian thing of making tea and special herbal tea, which is supposed to help with a cold. So the first thing I'm going to do is, we actually just worried that this kettle will take too much of our power and won't manage. So I'm going to boil some water in our little kettle and then put it in this one, which has got a warmer, which should be all right with us. And then we're going to put it in this pot here and let it draw for half an hour. And then we've got special sugar as well that we're going to put in to make it nice and sweet and make a nice Iranian cup of tea for John. This then is our nice herbal brew. Not sure what's all in it. But hopefully it will work. So this is then our Iranian tea brewing for John to make him feel better, because he's feeling a little bit miserable today, but he's allowed to. He can have a relaxed day today.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'll show outside as well where we are. And it's quite a cold day. I think it's about 8 or 9. Maybe it's a bit warmer now. It went down to about 4, I think. This is where we are parked. We're out looking for a geocache where those rocks have all been put together. There's a pile of rocks. There's a pile of rocks that have been put neatly. Maybe that's it. So which rock could it possibly be under? I wonder. Find it. And so we did find it. Also gave us a nice view of the top, the mountains, and also of the village. to Shiraz. Just having a look at the cars. They're much cleaner, much newer, and also not as battered as we've seen in other places. Now that I've got the camera up, no cars are coming past. Unfortunately, we arrived in Shiraz on a Friday afternoon, which is mosque time. So everything was packed with parking, and the parking area that we were looking for was completely packed. So this is us looking for an alternative place to park. You will notice that all the bricks here are yellow, which is very much a characteristic of many of the buildings in Shiraz and in Iran itself. As most of the sites in Shiraz were closed on the Friday, we did manage to find the Varki baths and went to have a look at them. The Varki baths were built in 1760 and is very typical of the hammams that were used in that area. Although the main bazaar, the big bazaar, was closed, there were still many shops open outside it, and so we just wandered around the square having a look at some of these markets. We were invited into the carpet shop of Hussein and his friend Cheyenne and offered a nice Iranian cup of tea, had lots of chats, and were serenaded by Cheyenne on his guitar.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
Many of the shops were still open on the streets, and I was just fascinated by all these clothes shops. It was also nice to see a familiar brand that we have in the UAE. This then are the ruins of Persepolis. Did I say it? Persepolis? What's it?
Persepolis.
Persepolis. I just can't remember it. Persepolis. So these stairs are made short so that you can walk up in a dignified manner with your fine clothes and converse with each other.
So we've got to say hello to each other.
Hello.
But we see that they covered the wood now just to preserve them because they've obviously been worn so much.
So are you conversing
But
nicely
they are,
now?
you can feel that they are quite low steps.
Yeah, they're actually quite nice. I could do this
Yeah.
in a dignified manner with my fine clothes without getting too much out of breath getting to the top. In about 518 BC, Darius the Great, who ruled over a world empire containing many of the civilized nations of the ancient world, decided to build Persepolis in the heart of his empire. It was to serve as a symbol of his empire and also was a magnificent setting for celebrating the great national religious festival of Nowruz, which means New Year's Day. Darius started the building of several structures, a large palace, a large audience hall, and a treasury. Work on these continued for 50 years, well into the reign of Artaxerxes I.
can see here they've just rubbed some
Yeah.
places clean.
Yeah.
Look at the flakes coming.
Oh yes, it is snowing. It is snowing. We had a very wet night last night. And just a little bit of snow. It's a very pretty area, but I'm not getting outside because it is one degrees and it's raining. This is the ruins of Izad. Caravannery.
Camel caravans.
Yeah, I've got the information. What I'll do is I'll have to talk over this. Oh, that's nice. Should we go inside quickly? Yeah. I need to get my Crocs.
You can go do something.
Caravanserais were roadside inns along major trade routes like the ancient Silk Road that doubles as hubs for the exchange of goods, ideas and culture. One of the most difficult things about Iran was dealing with the money. So you have a look at this huge pile of money that's probably worth
100 notes.
So it's 100,000. It's
10,000. No.
It's 100,000 notes of reals.
It's 100 notes of 100,000
reals.
Yes. So that's 10 million reals.
Yes.
Okay. So that's 1,000,000 toman. So it's 1,000 toman.
Yes, which is 100 dirhams.
In that region, yes.
Which is about $20 ish.
No,
$25.
That's not right.
$25. Yeah,
It could, yes, yeah.
So it's about $25 or €25 for that whole stack of money. And they use toman and reals. So they normally use toman a little bit more generally. So toman is 10,000. Is 10,000.
One toman is 10 reals.
Yes. So as you can see.
But when they talk of toman, it actually means 1,000 toman, because they drop the 1,000 off it.
Yes.
So if they say 10 toman, they actually mean 10,000 toman.
Which means
which is
for us
100,000 real.
Yeah, which
means
is
one of those.
Yes.
And that's why it's got 10 on the note, and it's, although it says 100,000 there, it's got 10 there.
Yeah. So anyway, every time we have to buy something, we just show our money and they just pick what they want out of it. We're all right now with 100,000, but when it comes to the change, we also have problems. Sometimes they actually don't give change, they'll give a chocolate, or if you're buying fruit, they'll put in extra fruit or something, so they don't actually give small change in money as such.
Yeah, you've got it, but I mean, if you're comparing it to UAE, one note is equivalent to 1 dirham. So these are what the coins are.
Yes.
But here they don't have coins.
Yeah.
So
And sometimes the money is really quite tattered. It's almost falling to pieces. So we're just trying to find out how much money we've got, because we are going out now and we just have to check that this huge pile is not a false sense of security, that we have enough money. This is coming into Isfahan. The road to here was rainy, with mountains on the side, but nothing really spectacular as such. But it is a mountainous area. Didn't see much snow on the mountains though. As we reached Isfahan very late in the afternoon, we decided to still use the time and go see some sights. So we headed for the Mosque Jameh, which is the biggest mosque in the whole of Iran. To get there, we had to walk through this bazaar, which is not even the Grand Bazaar, which seemed to stretch for kilometers at an end, all covered up, with lots of shops selling all kinds of wares, from clothes to jewelry to anything you can possibly think of. It has some alleyways that lead off it, so you can get out of it if you like, but we just stayed in the main area, also because it was warmer, because it was quite cold outside, and it was also just so interesting to see all the things that were being sold. This bazaar just goes on and on and on. Finally, we reached the Mosque Jameh, but as it was very close to prayer time, the mosque itself was closed, so we were not allowed to go inside. We did wander around it outside, however, and were amazed with the beauty of the tiling and everything that goes with it. And after that, we went back to our van and spent the night in a hotel parking, which wasn't great, but it was the only place that we could find that we could leave our van for the night. We're having a wonderful day in Isfahan in our van, with temperatures 6 outside and 12 inside, and our very nice diesel heater packed up yesterday. And although we had booked a hotel room, we decided that we were actually more comfortable in the van, even though it was cold. We had enough blankets to heat ourselves up. But as we are going further north now, we have to...
The temperature there will be a lot lower.
Yeah, we definitely have to get the heater going. So John tried very hard outside to undo things and see if that would make any difference. We actually just think that it's blocked. That is full of soot, and so therefore it is not possible to start it. So that is our day in Isfahan. What fun.
Air comes in here, goes round and down there, and it's there that it burns and then comes back round this. And the glow plug is in there. I suspect that this is so dirty around the glow plug that there's no chance of it actually burning easily in there. So yeah, that's why it's not
Firing up.
catching fire. Therefore, once we actually do want it to fire up.
Sure.
Because the pipes are long, there's a back pressure, and so the gas is not going through fast enough, and so it's actually it would take out most of the soot with it as part of the just in the gas.
So now by taking those pipes out, it should be better.
What I've done now is I've shortened the exhaust pipe so the gas can flow easier, and then hopefully burn hotter, because it's staying in here, it's not burning as hot. And if it burns hotter, this again, the soot doesn't form as easily.
This is our rainy day in Isfahan. We've been parked in this car park here all day trying to fix the diesel heater. John's had to lie in half the mud to try and get underneath the van. And we have a nice puddle that we've now got to try and get through to get to the gate. Sadly, due to time restraints and being in cities over the weekends, we did not see the big mosques, but these are just some of the small mosques that we saw along the way that were very, very pretty. From Isfahan onwards, we hit the snow, and we actually drove through some snow itself. It became very, very pretty. Everything was covered in beautiful snow and very, very white. And I was quite excited because although I have seen snow many times in my life, it's not something that we see often. And it was just so pretty. I just couldn't stop taking pictures and videos of all the snow-capped mountains and all the snow around us. But the temperatures did start getting colder. The coldest that we had was -13 one night when our diesel heater stopped working, our water froze, and we had to wait the next morning for everything to thaw out before we could carry on with our travels. But here you can see just how beautiful the snow looked. It almost looks like icing on a cake. As we reached the more northern side of Iran, close to the border, to Van, we saw these incredible red mountains with a very interesting color of red and shapes, and it almost looked as if we were on a different planet. It was very beautiful to drive through, and unfortunately my photos and videos just do no justice to the scenery that we were seeing. As we reached the area close to the Turkish border, we drove through Koi, which had been hit by an earthquake about 2 or 3 weeks before. It was very sad to see people living in shelters in below zero temperatures. These shelters were given by the Red Crescent for the people to live while their homes are being rebuilt.